والصلاة والسلام على من لا نبي بعده وعلى آله وصحبه ومن تمسك بسنته إلى يوم الدين وسلم تسليما كثيرا أما بعد. We continue in Kitaab At-Tawheed this blessed night, inshaAllah, 6:44 p.m., Wednesday, November the 28th, 2018, with the Gregorian calendar, which coincides with the Hijri calendar, or Rabi' al-Awwal, the month of Rabi' al-Awwal, Yawm 19 Aam 1440, the month in the Islamic calendar, which is Rabi' al-Awwal, which is the 19th, well technically the 20th of Rabi' al-Awwal, because it's the 20th night, just started after Maghrib. The year, yarhamakallah, the year 1440 after the Hijrah of Mustafa alayhi salatu wasalam. We continue, or as we almost finish, the chapter of the Shafa'ah. So inshallah, bidnillah, we'll more than likely end and finalize the chapter after this lesson, inshallah. So if we return back to the book, and we now ended this last chapter, or this last part of the chapter, excuse me. We said, Ya ma'ashal ikhwa, that Shafa'ah is one of the important matters in which it's incumbent upon every Muslim to have dabt, to يضبط هذه المسألة ضبطا تاما. يعني كثير من المسلمين الآن وقعوا في تخبط عظيم في هذه المسألة. You'll find that a lot of the Muslims, they fell into تخبط, when they mixed up this affair to the point where they even fell into shirk. Muslims that say La ilaha illallah fell into polytheism because they're the takhabbut, because of them mixing up this affair and not actualizing it and understanding it properly, which comes as a result of it that you'll find that a lot of the Muslims have fell into this error that is not only just a mere khata, rather it's a khata fahish, rather it's a very disgusting, horrific mistake, because of a mistake that will land you in the depths of disbelief. Not saying, like we said, those who commit this are the non-Muslims. That's a whole nother affair, as we discuss. As we're not quick to make takfir on anyone. La nasta'jil fi takfir. We do not hasten, or nor are we hasty in declaring Muslims to be unbelievers, except after iqamat al-hujjah, after the proofs and evidences have been established upon them first. But generally, we are not to make takfir on any of the Muslims that say La ilaha illallah, generally. Even though, not to deny the fact that what they're still committing is an act of shirk and kufr, no doubt. We still say that the act is an act of kufr and disbelief, and it can remove one from the fold of Islam in this regard. And depending on who are they, especially like we talked about before, the majority of those Muslims that fall into this type of affair or this type of mistake, they're either from the Rawafid or the Shia. They're either from the Rawafid, they're from the Rawafid who are the Shia and the Sufiya. The Rawafid who are the Shia and the Sufiya. You'll find that the methodology of the Sufiya is taken from Rafid, is taken from the Shia. If you was to read Kitaab al-Minhaj by Shaykh al-Islam Taymiyyah, you'll find there's a direct correlation between both parties, where you'll find, for example, the worship of graves and the worship of the dead was taken from the Shia. So that's why you'll find a great resemblance in Sufiya resembling the ways of Rawafid or Rafid, or the deviant sect from, if they are considered even a deviant sect in the first place, the Rafidah. For you'll find, Ya ma'ashal ikhwa, as the Rawafid were the first to start the sunnah, this evil sunnah of worshipping the dead, which is polytheism. And you'll find that the Shia took it from them. Until the point, like we said, Ya ma'ashal ikhwa, you'll even find there are deviant sects. For example, as we talked about a month ago, 2 months ago, how you'll find that the famous grave which is located in Egypt of today, which is Ahmed al-Badawi, they call him the grave al-Badawi. And we talked about his history, that he was Shadidi, Sufi. He was from the different types of Turq Sufiya, or what they call tariqas, for lack of better words in English, tariqas, they put an S on it at the end of the Arabic word. The different types of turq al-Sufiya are plenty in the Muslim world. As I discussed before, you have, for example, Tijaniya, you have Baralawiyya, Naqshbandiyya, you have Idrisiyya, and you have Qadiriyya, who are a lot of them in these, especially here in America, who claim that they so-called follow Abdul Qadir Jilani. And you have Shadiliyya, and you have others. For the Shadiliyya, you'll find from those, he was Shi'i, Ahmad Badawi was Shadili. Not only was he Shadili, he was Sufi. So he gathered with him two atrocities from the atrocities there are, or catastrophes there are, him being Shi'i and Sufi. And you'll find that his grave is worshipped, and they make tawaf around his grave in Egypt today. And كان أحمد بدوي شيعي صوفي شاذلي فاجتمعت فيه طامتان من طوام الدنيا وبليتان من بلايا الدنيا ألا وهي الرافض وكذلك الصوفية في آن واحد. So he was what? He was Shadili, Shi'i, and he was also Sufi. So that's the reason why you'll find, this is what the people glorify in Egypt. This is who they glorify from the common folk. As I said, Ya Ma'ash al-Ikhwa, at last class, that the majority of these deviant sects, if the Rafid are even considered a sect at all, but the majority of those who fell into this type of polytheistic affair is, like we said, either the Shia, the Rawafid, and the Sufiya. And the Sufiya, like we said, depending on their belief system, some of them, especially from the extremists, are out the fold of Islam, and some of them are still in the fold, depending on what's their belief system and their ideologies. For verily, for example, I was going to discuss about the Baralawiyya and the Naqshbandiyya right now. But anyway, so that's what we say. And you'll find that this is widespread amongst the Muslims in the Muslim world. And that's the reason why, and I discussed this Friday, meaning in South Philadelphia, which I will touch on a little bit more in detail about the ways of Sufiya and how in depth, how they are upon affairs which is totally in contrast to what Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam until it became a religion totally different, as if it's a different religion altogether. Can you imagine that their so-called glorified scholars said that they raised to the level where they do not have to do anything anymore? Isn't that kufr that removes you from the fold of Islam? You reach the level of what they call now, they have reached the level of yaqeen, as they say, where they say the ilm al-sharia, of the knowledge of Kitaab and Sunnah, breaks down to two categories. They say ilm al-sharia wa ilm al-haqiqa. He said the sharia, or what the common folk practice, that's for the common folk. That's from the regular common folk, average Muslim. But then you have a level where now they call it, where they reach surety in the reality. So they break the sharia down to those two categories. And to the ilm al-sharia, that's for the common folk, or for the average, as you want to say, for lack of better words, the regular Joe Blow, or the Joe who's so-and-so, regular average Muslim, or whoever. Then you have the Muslims who's from the Khawas, so-called, exclusive Muslims who have reached the level of surety, or they have reached true reality. With a point, like we said, they say that all the takalif, all the duties of Islam have been raised and lifted off of them. If this is not the level that they reach, basically a level of disbelief. Because not even the prophets and the messengers, due to their high level of status, they went there upon. They never left off the ibad of Allah. You will never find that the best of the creation, who are the messengers and the prophets, ever left off the worship of Allah all the way up to their death. So what makes them better than the prophets and messengers? So this is the type of affairs that they believe of this day. Like we said, depending on the level of ignorance, especially the callers from amongst them, who they have declared to be outside the fold of Islam, especially their so-called du'at, or their callers that call the people to this type of misguidance, to the level where you so-called think that the duties of Islam have been dropped and raised off of you, is something of a level of disbelief, clearly. May Allah Ta'ala keep us and you from that. So you say, Ya Ma'ash al-Ikhwa, as I'll talk about that and discuss it, but this is the affair of the shafa'ah, is an affair that I hope that everyone took time out to understand it properly. Because if you don't, you can either fall into those who either went to the extreme of negating it, or into the extreme of affirmation of it. And like we said, those who went to the extreme of the affirmation of it, from the deviant sects of the Rawafid and the Shia and the Sufiya and other than them, especially the Sufiya and the different types of so-called مشايخ الطرق أو الطرق الصوفية الكثيرة الموجودة في الساحة الدعوية الآن التي أقرفت صارت مثل هذه الطرق الصوفية مقرفة تجد ما فيها من الكفريات التي لم يقع فيها كفار قريش نسأل الله يعافينا وإياكم. But anyway, يا معاشر الإخوة, as we return back to the Masail, and like I said, as far as the details of the different ways of Sufiya, we'll talk about that in detail at a later time. As we talked about, and I discussed Friday, you'll find that the head of who they want to become is Ibn Arabi, At-Ta'i, Al-Hatimi, who are Ra'is Wahdat al-Wujud. He's the person that's the head of all of those who say that Allah has become reincarnated in the form of the creation, or the creations become one with Allah. A person will think, how in the world? Don't even ask. Like we said, they're weirdos. Absolute weirdos. Yes, they are. Straight absolute weirdos. How can you say now, who they called Ibn Arabi At-Ta'i, who said in his poetry, he says, Al-Rabbu Abdun wal-Abdu Rabbun falayta shi'ri man al-mukallaf. وقال في بيت آخر قال الرب حق والعبد حق فليت شعري من المكلف فإن كان عبد فذاك ميت وإن كان الرب فأنا يكلف. Kufr. You'll find that he said in his poetry, he says the servant is the Allah and Allah is the servant. So how can one even be burdened with duties? Meaning that he's what? It's been raised off of him. In another poetry he says, Al-Abdu haqqun wal-Rabbu haqqun falayta shi'ri man al-mukallaf. He said that the Rabb is true and the servant is true, so how can any of them be burdened? Meaning burdened with the obligatory duties and the obligations they're supposed to carry out. Meaning they be lifted. He says, and if you say that he's the servant, that means he's dead. And if you say that he's the Lord, meaning the human beings become the Lord, how can he be burdened with anything? So you'll even find absolute weirdos. When you hear something like this, don't even try to understand it, because it's weird. You'll find that he even says that nubuwah is above prophethood. Now the prophet is above a messenger. And a wali, so-called from the awliya of Allah, is above a prophet and messenger. He said, مقام النبوة في برزخي فويق الرسول ودون الولي. أعوذ بالله. He said, مقام النبوة في برزخي فويق الرسول ودون الولي. He said that the status of nubuwah, prophethood, as far as in the barzakh, in the hereafter, meaning in the middle life, he said, فويق الرسول ودون الولي. He says it's above a messenger, and it's at a lower level of being a wali. So these are all the different type of balaya, of atrocities that this man believed, and they glorify him. He is from their heads. He is from their heads that they ultimately want to become, from their masters and their saints that they call him, so-called. He's from the masters of the Sufiya, that all of their goal is to be like him. Of all the different types of Mashaykh al-Turuq, that's their goal, and their aim to be like him. And also, we discussed Friday, I think it was Saturday, that also likewise, he believes that the people in the hellfire will be what? In a state of pleasure. The people in the hellfire will be in a state of pleasure. Yes. And all weirdos, absolute weirdos. So they don't deserve to be called weirdos? It's a weirdo. That's why you'll find that Abdullah ibn Mubarak, rahimahullah, he used to say, نحن نحكي أقوال اليهود والنصارى ونحن نستحي أن نحكي لكم أقوال أهل البدع وإكسارك. You said you'll find that he said in this statement, he said, Abdullah ibn Mubarak, he says, we used to be shy. He said we could relate the statements of the Christians and the Jews. Meaning because Allah Ta'ala mentioned in his book about some of his statements. He said, but however, we would be shy to narrate the statements of the people of innovations. He said, due to the magnitude of how uglified and vilified, disgusting it is. Meaning, for example, why did Abdullah ibn Mubarak say this? He says, for example, the Christians believe that Allah was Isa. Some of them say that he's either Jesus, the son of Mary, or that he was the son of Allah, or he was the third of three. He says, as for the people who believe in Wahdat al-Wujud, as far as the people who believe that Allah is in everything and everything's in Allah, then they believe that he's in another thousands and millions of people. So that's on a higher level. So that's the reason why, to let you know that they even what? They surpass the Christians and the Jews in aspects of what? Misguidance. That's why you find that they said the statement, wa Abdullah al-Mubarak, of what he said in the statement contained of great fiqh. He said, verily, he said, we used to say the statements of the Jews and the Christians. Meaning because of what Allah had mentioned in this book about them, about how they ministrate, what have you. He said, but however, we used to feel shy to say the statements of the people bid'ah. Due to the level of magnitude of filth and the level of how vilified and uglified and horrific these statements are. To say that Allah is in everything, you surpass the Jews and the Christians. To say now that Allah is in millions of people, man, you pass the Christians. They just say that he's in Isa, and Jesus is in him, and him is in Isa. What happened? Now you're saying that he's in the whole creation. Isn't that not a higher level, brothers and sisters? That's a higher level. So that's the reason why he said this statement. So you see the fiqh of why the Salaf said what they used to say. They used to say it based upon fiqh and understanding, to let you know the level and the magnitude. Meaning, for another example of that, for example, the Jews and the Christians believe Allah is above, even though they say their statement that's erroneous, such as our Father in heaven, which is incorrect, to say that he's their Father. But however, they still had to believe that Allah Ta'ala is what? Is above. However, these people say that Allah is what? Everywhere, and he's everywhere, some of them say, or he exists in a place without a place, or they say that he has become one with the creation. They even surpass the Jews and the Christians in what? In their disbelief. And even the Jews and the Christians also had something over the Muslims in the affair as far as them believing that Allah Ta'ala is above the creation. Because you'll find the majority of them believe that Allah is what? Is above. And here you are saying that no, he's in everything, and everything is in him. Or he's everywhere. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? So that's the reason why we say that the people of Ahl Bid'ah have reached, especially from the Sufiya, to say that Allah Ta'ala, or the people of the hellfire will be in what? In a state of pleasure and bliss. And say that Allah, that everything is Allah, to the point where you can worship idols. You can even worship females and be intimate with females. And you see this, the result of their belief system, where you'll find the majority of them committing acts such as standing on the khutbah and saying what? Giving the khutbah naked. And as you'll find some of them used to do, they stood on the minbar Friday, giving the khutbah naked. And some of them said, for example, you'll find this wicked belief led to them saying that when the Fir'aun said, Ana Rabbukum al-A'la, qalu sadaq. They said, when Fir'aun said that I'm your highest Lord, they said Fir'aun spoke the truth. Why? Because of the belief system that Allah is what? One with the creation, and the creation is what? One with Allah. Can you imagine the atrocities of now, what that would lead down to if a person was to totally believe that and take it to its highest extent? That means it's justifiable also for you to worship what? Idols. Because everything is Allah, and Allah is what? One with everything. And this is what they did. And that's the reason why they went to the level of worshiping human beings. Because of this belief. Because all of them want to be like Ibn Arabi al-Ta'i al-Hatimi, who's the Ra'is Wahdat al-Wujud. And you can understand the fiqh. Why Shaykh al-Islam Taymiyyah said about them. It said about Ibn Arabi, not al-Arabi. Ibn al-Arabi is Maliki Salafi. Ibn al-Arabi is Maliki. He was Maliki Salafi. Even though he might have fell into a little bit of a ta'wil and some of the sifat, but he's not considered for the people of innovations. But Ibn Arabi al-Arabi was Salafi. Ibn Arabi without the alif wa lam is who we're speaking about now. Al-Hatimi al-Ta'i. Who all the Mashaykh of Sufiya want to be like, inevitably. That's the level they're trying to reach. They're trying to reach his level. And if I bring some of the statements of Ibn Farid and Ibn Arabi and Ibn Farid and Tilmasani, who are from their masters of the Mashaykh al-Turuq as they call them, Mashaykh al-Turuq al-Sufiya, you will probably vomit and throw up and be in a state of disgust and be repulsed and be, as they say, due to their condescending statements and filth that they say. It's in a level of not even the Jews and the Christians fell into it. If I was to bring some of it. In that book, like I showed everyone last class, it's called Hadihi Sufiya, who the great Imam Sheikh Ahmed Najmi praised. That book is called Hadihi, This is Sufiya. And he mentioned all of this in there. By Sheikh Huh? That's a lot of books. You have a book called Hadi Sufiya, you have Masla' Tasawwuf by Al-Buqa'i, which Sheikh Muhammad Aman Jami praised. Then you have a book called Hadi Sufiya by Sheikh Abdurrahman Wakil, I think it is. And Sheikh Ahmed Najmi praised it. He said it's tremendous. And also from the great Imam who also died, Sheikh Hamoud At-Tawheed, called in his book called Al-Radd Al-Baligh في التحذير من جماعة التبليغ. He said he emphasized in-depth statement or strong statement in his warning against Jama'at al-Tabligh. Jama'at al-Tabligh is Sufiya Asriya, as we know it. It's the modern time Sufi of today. It's Jama'at al-Tabligh. What they call them here in America, Tablighi Jumat. But it's Jama'at al-Tabligh. But Tablighi Jumat is the Sufis of the modernized or the modern day Sufi of our time. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? طيب. So let's get back to the Masail. So we start and we arrive to the last part of the chapter. It says, فيه مسائل الأولى تفسير الآيات. The first one is the tafsir of the ayat of what we mentioned. And that first tafsir of which ayat, everyone? If you look in your books. Say it again. No. It says, and warn those who have fear that they be gathered to their Lord, that they do not have a wali or shafi' besides Allah. We gave the tafsir of that ayah, saying how this ayah was revealed to the believers. And Allah Ta'ala talks about how they will not have a shafi', have anyone to intercede, or there will be any wali or protector for them besides Allah, meaning who Allah will allow to be an intercessor for them on the day of resurrection. As we know, the shafi' or shafi' mean the same thing, shafi' or shafi', they're both on the day of resurrection, or wali, and shafi', all of it will take place by the permission of Allah, and who Allah is pleased with his statement and his action, or be pleased with his statement and his action, and Allah is only pleased with the people of monotheism. The second, صفة الشفاعة المنفية. What's the second, everyone? The characteristic of the shafa'ah that's been negated. What's shafa'ah? What characteristic of shafa'ah? What intercession is negated, Camden? What intercession is negated? What will be null and void, or won't be applicable, or no one will be able to benefit? Give him a chance. I don't even care if you're... All right, so take the ones who've been allowed and put that as the opposite. That's all you have to do. Don't help them. Let them. The ones you know... Say it again. You just said it. Who will not receive the shafa'ah on the day of resurrection, Camden? Who will not? Give me one. Give him a time. Give him a chance, brothers. Who will not receive the shafa'ah on the day of resurrection? Raise your voice a little bit. Raise your voice a bit. I can't hear you. Who will they intercede for? People of who? Okay, now take the people of Tawheed. Who's the opposite? Who's the opposite of the people of Tawheed? Polytheists. Exactly. So the intercession, those who will not receive it is who? You just said it. How you just say it and you forget to say it? The polytheists. Those who will not receive the shafa'ah on the day of resurrection is the polytheists. طيب. What other shafa'ah or intercession is negated? Caden. Is there another shafa'ah that's negated? Let's just say not permissible. The shafa'ah, firstly, number one, who will not receive it, which is in the form of negation, is the people of polytheism. They will not benefit from the shafa'ah at all. طيب. Has anyone seen Amir, the other Amir? Has anyone spoke to him? I just realized he's not here. He was here for the class, right? Not on Wednesday, I meant. He was here? Okay. Okay. The other shafa'ah that's been negated, meaning not permissible, let's just say. It's not permissible. Is that what? Caden? Give him a chance. Now you see why I ask questions. To see if everyone understands. There's no point in going past the chapter until you understand perfectly. Because if this thing happens, you'll know what to do. Not just sitting in classes listening. But you know, like if someone now says, somebody from this Mashaykh al-Turq al-Sufiya come up to you and say, you Muslim brother? Say, yes. Ask the Messenger of Allah for the shafa'ah. I just gave you now a hint. I ask you now, I came up to you. Listen, akhi, we make dua and ask the Messenger of Allah to intercede for you. What would you say to him? You say no. Why? Ahsant. She said, no, I will ask Allah to allow the Messenger of Allah to intercede for me. That's correct. Which is what she just said, of what we're trying to say here, which is that any shafa'ah that's sought from other than Allah is the shafa'ah that's also what? Negated. That shafa'ah is negated. And that type of shafa'ah, of that type of request, is a request that is also what? Dangerous, because it will nullify Islam. If you make dua to the Messenger of Allah and ask the Messenger of Allah, oh Messenger of Allah, intercede for me, that is the polytheism in which the Messenger of Allah warned against, in which the Messenger of Allah alayhi salatu wasalam would be angry to see that one of his followers here in this dunya is doing that type of what? Committing that type of act. That type of act is what the polytheists of the past fell into. From the times of old, from other prophets, all the way up to the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, and even in these days of those who are from the Mashaykh al-Turq al-Sufiya and their murid, their followers. That's the same thing they do. And those who also call to that type of nonsense, such as Hamzah Yusuf, which he says that is what? Justifiable. Rather, he even says that you can what? Ask the Messenger of Allah and encourage his followers and the poetry of the Burda, which is by al-Busaydi, which he tells them to memorize, which is filled with polytheism, not in the aspect of uluhiyah, it's filled with polytheism in the rububiyyah. You're asking the Messenger of Allah to forgive you and save you on the day of resurrection and make dua to the Messenger of Allah for that. So ahsant. So the shafa'ah that's been negated is what, everyone? Shafa'ah that is, number one, for the people of polytheism and the people of disbelief. Secondly, the shafa'ah that is what? Sought from other than Allah. That type of shafa'ah is what? Is negated. It's not permissible. Like he said, if you raise your hands and ask the Messenger of Allah, your supplication, O Messenger of Allah, aid me or do this, such and such for me, that is the polytheism that will remove you from the fold of Islam. Because you're making dua to the message of Allah. And just because it's the message of Allah alayhi salatu wasalam does not take it from the aspect of it, or does it remove it from the aspect of it being what? Polytheism. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? Is it clear? What is the example of that? A person would say, well, how would you know if the message of Allah heard me doing this, he would be upset? Because there were certain things that happened during his time that almost led to that, and he became highly upset. So, for example, when they said to him in front of his face, in front of his blessed face, he said, one of the Sahabas said, MashaAllahu wa shit. May Allah will and you will. The Messenger of Allah became highly upset. He said, Aja'adtani lillahi niddan? Did you make me a partner along with Allah? He said, Bal masha'Allahu wahda. Wa fi riwayah, Bal masha'Allah or qul. MashaAllah thumma shit. He says, did you make me a partner or one to resemble Allah? So this was in shirk asghar. This was in minor polytheism. You make a dua to the message of Allah, and he became upset for something that was done in a mere statement. And he was upset. He said, you make me alone with Allah a partner? He said, rather, wherever Allah wills by himself or alone. In another narration, the message of Allah said, corrected him and said, say, wherever Allah wills, then you will. Then. You understand, everyone? So this is what the message of Allah والسلام, said in affair of that which is a minor polytheism. What if you make dua to the message of Allah or something that's major polytheism? How do you think he would have reacted? Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? طيب. So that's the shafa'at that's been negated. The shafa'at is what? That's sought from other than Allah, and the shafa'at for the kuffar. طيب. The third, ya ma'ashal ikhwa, that which has been affirmed. I think that should be easy for you, Camden. This should be an easy one for you. What shafa'ah has been affirmed? Confirmed, affirmed, or has been established? Huh. For who? J. The shafa'at has been affirmed for the people only, the people of Iman and the people of Tawheed. The people of Iman, the people of Tawheed. Right, everyone? The people of Iman, people of Tawheed. So Allah Ta'ala will only allow the people of Tawheed to intercede. And for those to be interceded for, likewise have to be the people of Tawheed. So both. It's not just what? Those who is being interceded for are people of Tawheed. Rather, it's for all the more reason that those who will intercede will be what? People of Tawheed. Such as the angels. Aren't the angels the people of Tawheed? Absolutely. The angels, the prophets, the messengers are the people of Tawheed, and the mu'mineen. The mu'mineen, people of Iman. They're the only people that will be allowed to what? Intercede. Of course, from the martyrs, they're also the mu'mineen, the martyrs and the anbiya, and the children that didn't reach puberty will be able to intercede for their Muslim parents to the end of it. You understand what I'm saying? طيب. So those who will intercede are the people of Tawheed, and those who will be interceded for likewise have to be what? People of Tawheed. طيب. We said the conditions which are mentioned in one ayah, which is Surah An-Najm. All the conditions of the shafa'ah are in there. We said it, which is in your books. Which are the conditions? We can say it in 2 or 3. What's the first condition for the shafa'ah? Has to be by the permission of Allah. And secondly, who Allah's statement He's pleased with, and their statement and action. And who's pleased with the who? The shafi' and the mashfu'i lahu. Allah is pleased with the person interceding and the one being interceded for. And Allah is only pleased with the what? People of Tawheed. All the conditions have been fulfilled or been mentioned in the ayahs we know, Surah An-Najm, which is in your books. Where Allah talks about the angels and how many of them, how plentiful they are in the heavens. Where He says, وَكَمْ مِن مَلَكٍ فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ لَا تُغْنِي, it's in your books, لَا تُغْنِي شَفَاعَتُهُمْ شَيْئًا إِلَّا مِن بَعْدِ أَن يَأْذَنَ اللَّهُ لِمَن يَشَاءُ وَيَرْضَى. Right, everyone? How many angels that are in the heavens? Their intercession will not benefit anyone but for anyone, shafa'ah, except after what? After permission of Allah. إِلَّا مِن بَعْدِ أَن يَأْذَنَ اللَّهُ لِمَن يَشَاءُ. Whoever Allah wills and who He's pleased with. So He's only pleased with those, or the people of monotheism. That's it. Allah Ta'ala is not pleased with the people of polytheism, the people of shirk, and the people of kufr. A person with probably saying in his mind, how do we know that Allah is not pleased with the people of kufr and shirk? And how do we know there will be people of what? That Allah hates. Allah Ta'ala does not hate, Allah Ta'ala hates the kuffar and the people of kufr. He hates kufr and His people. Just like He detests shirk and His people. If that was the case, why there would be an eternal imprisonment of hell forever, everyone? Except that's a clear proof to show that Allah is displeased what? With certain belief systems and its people. You understand, everyone? And just likewise, Allah is pleased with certain people, pleased with certain beliefs and its people, or certain belief, and its people, because the haqq is only one. As far as the hellfire, then disbelief and shirk is there's a lot of different beliefs. But we say Allah Ta'ala in Jannah, He's only pleased with one belief and His people. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? As far as the hellfire, there are multiple beliefs of kufr and shirk, as we know. Is it clear what I'm saying so far? Because we believe as Ahl Sunnah, and I want everyone to memorize this. Al-Haq wahid, la yata'addad. The truth is one and it's not plural. Just as Allah is one, the truth is what? One, and it is not what? It's not plural. No matter what the people of disbelief say or the people from the deviant Muslims say, the al-haq wahid la yata'addad. The truth is what? One, and it is not. Have that memorized in your dome until you die. Because if you firmly and you truly understand that statement, you won't deviate. The truth is one. That would now take out of that statement what? Everyone who what? Claims that they're upon the truth, that are on another way of other than what Allah Ta'ala has revealed. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? Al-haq wahid la yata'addad. The truth is one, it's not multiple. It's not plural. As you'll find say, no, you can get to Jannah be Sufi. You can beat the Jannah being Rafidi, or Shi'i, or Ikhwani, or Shi'i. There's different ways we can get to God, as they say. No, there isn't. There's only one way in which Allah Himself planned it down, because the message of Allah drew one line, which is a clear indication that what? The truth is only what? One. And He said that each other line is what? It's a shaitan at the end of it, you calling you to it. When the message of Allah drew that line, is to clearly establish that the truth to Allah is only one way. That's why He drew one line, and He drew another lines on the sides, which are called bunayat al-tariq, what they call the baby side roads. And He said that each side of that road is a shaitan calling you to it. You understand, everyone? So I want everyone to understand that the truth is one. So one try to say, you could be Christian, you could get to Allah being Christian. You could get to Allah being a Judaism, or you could be Buddhist and get to Allah and earn His pleasure. It's different ways. And even what we know with the aql, from the aspect of the intellect, that's not accepted. That's not acceptable. If you had your own business and you are the boss of it your way, and you want it done a certain way, and you're the one that runs everything in that job, and everyone says, and you tell them, and you set the what? The jurisdiction, you set down the protocol, you laid it down, because you're the boss. And you own it and you built it. I want it ran this way. No, Akhi, we can witness some of your workers right now and say, listen, no, but we want to do other ways. And you would look at them like you're crazy. Listen, who owns this or not? It's rejected. You set the protocol, you set the rules. Just like Allah Ta'ala has set the protocol and the system of what will be able to attain His pleasure is only one way. If you try to deviate from that, Allah has clearly said in His book, there will be people that come on the day of resurrection that will be humiliated. Why? Because they did it in a manner that He did not what? He did not legislate. There's ayats after ayats. People that will be working hard and they still will be burned in hell. How many ayats do we know? Allah Ta'ala says we will bring forth their actions on the day of resurrection and we'll make it like scattered dust. Why? To let you clearly know that the what? The truth is only what, everyone? One. It's one. It's not plural. Al-Haqq wahid. There's a poetry for it. I don't want to get into it right now. Al-Haqq wahid la yata'addad. La yata'addadu. It's not plural, or it's not multiple. It's not multiple different ways. طيب. Is it clear what I'm saying so far, everyone? If you understand that one statement, inshallah, and if Allah give you tawfiq to truly grasp it and apply it in your life, inshallah, you'll survive in this world that we live in where you won't deviate. You get what I understand what I'm saying? Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? Jay. So do not listen to those who say, no, الحق يتعدد. The truth is multiple. No, it isn't. It's not multiple. It's one. Just as Allah is one, the truth is one. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? Jay. So the shafa'ah that has been affirmed is only for the people the conditions of the shafa'ah is the permission of Allah, and Allah being pleased with what? The shafi' and the mashfu'u lahu. For the one interceding and the one being interceded for. He's only pleased with the people of what? Monotheism, that's it. There are no people of kufr in Jannah. There isn't any. There is not. A person would say, what about a person that died in the state of kufr and he didn't know about Islam? As we talked about in the hadith that Imam al-Albani authenticated, as we know, that Allah will test them on the day of resurrection. They will be tested. To make it established clearly that what? Whether or not they would accept the truth, if it would came to them or not, or they would reject it. So that still shows at the end of the day, ultimately, that still the only people who enter paradise is people who? People Tawheed. That's it. There's no mushrikeen in paradise. There's only muwahhideen. There's only people of Tawheed in paradise. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? Jay. طيب. Fourth mas'ala, as we said, ذكر الشفاعة الكبرى وهي المقام المحمود. Mentioning the tremendous, or the major shafa'ah. The major shafa'ah, which is what? The high status that the message of Allah will be given, which is called al-maqamul mahmud. Al-maqam al-mahmud. And that's for the major what? Shafa'ah. The major shafa'ah. We said that shafa'ah though, write this down if you all don't have this written down. That major shafa'ah, which is the shafa'ah for the people of the mawqif, for those who will be standing long on the day of resurrection, are for the kuffar and for the Muslimun. Not for them to enter paradise or hell, but in order for the day of resurrection and the reckoning to what? To start. And to relieve them minorly from that difficulty of the sun being what? Brought close to them. But it's not to enter paradise or hell. No, it's for the commencement of what? Of the reckoning and the count to start. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? That Ahl al-Mawqif, the people who will be standing long from the Muslimun and from the Kuffar, who will be going to all the prophets so they can be relieved, so the reckoning can what? Can commence and start. So it's not to enter paradise or hell yet, but it's for the commencement, which is to show the high status of the message of Allah, which Allah Himself has talked about the Maqam al-Mahmud, which is the Surah al-Isra. I don't think it's in your books. And that's been clearly mentioned. Allah Ta'ala says, وَمِنَ اللَّيْلِ فَتَهَجَّدَ بِهِ. Now this is very careful. نَافِلَةً لَكَ عَسَىٰ أَن يَبْعَثَكَ رَبُّكَ مَقَامًا مَحْمُودًا. I said it. مَقَامًا مَحْمُودًا. وَقُلْ رَبِّ أَدْخِلْنِي مُدْخَلَ الصِّدْقِ وَأَخْرِجْنِي مُخْرَجَ الصِّدْقِ وَجَعَلْنِي مِن لَدُنْكَ سُلْطَانًا نَصِيرًا. وَقُلْ جَاءَ الْحَقُّ وَزَهَقَ الْبَاطِلُ إِنَّ الْبَاطِلَ كَانَ زَهُوقًا. To the end of the ayah, which is the Surah al-Isra. Because Allah Ta'ala says, وَمِنَ اللَّيْلِ فَتَهَجَّدَ بِهِ نَافِلَةً لَكَ عَسَىٰ أَن يَبْعَثَكَ رَبُّكَ مَقَامًا مَحْمُودًا. He says, the point of the matter is that Allah Ta'ala says in Surah al-Isra that He mentioned that your Lord will give you, rather the message of Allah is going to be granted the high status, which is called Maqam al-Mahmud, which will be for the message of Allah only, in which all the prophets will pass off to the greatest of all messengers and prophets, who's the last messenger sent to all humanity, whether they be from the Arab or the Ajam, whether they be from black and white, Chinese, you name it, who's Muhammad ibn Abdullah alayhi salatu wasalam. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? not Fard Muhammad or Elijah Muhammad. طيب. That shafa'ah, as we said, is it for that type of shafa'ah now, brothers? That one who intercedes, is that only for the message of Allah, other than the message of Allah? Only specifically for the message of Allah. Is that right? Sheikh Ali, is that right? Jade. That shafa'ah is only for the message of Allah. No one else. The shafa'at al-udhma, which is the al-maqam al-mahmud, is only for the message of Allah. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? Jade. The fifth, if you look at your books, صفة ما يفعله عليه الصلاة والسلام أنه لا يبدأ بالشفاعة بل يسجد فإذا أذن له شفاعة. That the characteristic of what the message of Allah will do, meaning the way how he'll do it on the day of resurrection, is that the message of Allah will not start with the intercession. Why has he mentioned this? The Shaykh al-Islam, the great Imam, Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab. Why is he mentioning this? He wants everybody to be attentive and aware that the message, if it was based upon the Sufis, so what they say, based upon him making dua to the message of Allah, that means the message of Allah just walk directly and what? Start interceding automatically. And I want everyone to be attentive to what I'm saying here. This is a very important point, Camden, and those listening online. This is very, very important of what I'm saying. Understand this. Let's now take the ideologies of the Sufi and apply this to this one statement. Why do you think Sheikh Muhammad Abdul Wahhab mentioned this statement? He says, the way of how it will be done on the day of resurrection is that the message of Allah will not start with the intercession first. Rather, he will make sujood, he will prostrate, and he will have to be granted permission. Then he want to see. جي تفضل. Exactly. So based upon, and let's now take the opposite. Based upon what the Sufis believe, such as what Hamzah used to say, and all the other Sufis, just make dua out of the message of Allah. Call on the message of Allah directly. Ask the message of Allah for the shafa'ah. But based upon that, that will necessitate what? That the message of, that when the people come on the day of resurrection, that he will what? What do we do? What will he do? No, based upon their belief. He'll just start doing it. Exactly. That means the message of Allah directly would just start doing it without any permission. Is it clear what I'm saying? That means that just start. No permission, nothing. Granted, nothing. Based upon their belief. Right or wrong? You understand where I'm coming from, everyone? Is it clear what I'm saying so far, Camden? Is it clear? You sure? Let me give you some fish oil pills. By the way, good fats are good for you. Don't be fooled by what the kuffar tell you that all fat is bad for you. No, fat is good for you. Depending on what type it is, fat is very good for you. Very, very good for you. Rather, if you eat certain fats, you'll lose weight. You won't gain it. Anyway, I'll talk about that later. Don't be fooled by what America pumps. Eat a bunch of sugar and carbohydrates. That's the reason why you get fat. Because of carbohydrates. Not because of fat. Anyway, I'll talk about that later. But what we're saying here, I want you to focus. You'll say here, Camden, based upon this understanding, what is it we say here? Based upon the belief of the Sufiya. Their statement is what? That the message of Allah, based upon their ideologies, that you could just ask him directly. Make dua to the message of Allah, just ask him. Since they raised him to the level of rububiyyah, right? Some of them, or a lot of them, raise it to the level of rububiyyah. That would necessitate on the day of resurrection, the message of Allah would just start what? Just start interceding. Based upon the belief of Ahl Sunnah, which is correct, then we believe that what? On the message of Allah, alayhi salatu wasalam, will not be able to start the shafa'ah until he gets what? Permission. So, the one who gives permission is the one that shows that he ultimately is the one who what? Controls, is in charge of it. So why do you ask him for it? You understand? Because no one will be able to make the shafa'ah or perform the intercession unless it's by Allah's what? Permission. So that means it should be sought only from Allah. Because He's the only one that will give permission on the day of resurrection for anyone to intercede. From the people of Tawheed, of course. Whether it be from the angels or the prophets or the messengers or the believers. As they are all the people of Tawheed. As the angels are the people of Tawheed, the messengers or prophets are the people of Tawheed, and the mu'mineen are the people of Tawheed. And none of them will be able to intercede except what? By Allah Ta'ala's permission. Jay. Is it clear what I'm saying and why I said this? Jay. The sixth point, Man as'ad al-nasi bihada. Who's the happiest of people with the shafa'ah? Huh? And I think this is clear. The people of who? Tawheed and Ikhlas. Those who said La ilaha illallah sincerely from their heart. When we said that though, however, that only way you can say La ilaha illallah sincerely from your heart is based upon knowledge. You cannot just say La ilaha illallah, I'm saying it sincerely with my heart. That's good. However, one can only be sincere in something unless they have knowledge of what they're saying. Is it clear what I'm saying? You cannot be sincere in something that you're ignorant of. It's clear what I'm saying so far, everyone? When the Messenger of Allah said that when he said that to Abu Hurairah, if you look at your books, Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu asked the Messenger of Allah, it's in your books, who is the most happiest of those who attain your intercession, Messenger of Allah? He said, those who said La ilaha illallah. Whoever said La ilaha illallah sincerely from his heart. Meaning that he had clear, absolute knowledge of it. عالما بمعناها عاملا بمقتضاها. Knowledge of what it means. I think I got 10 more minutes because that was the warning right there. Knowledge of what it means. What do you say? I got 2 more minutes? Oh, 20? I got 20. Okay. Jade. عالما بمعناها. Knowledge of what it means. Working in accordance to it. Knowing its conditions. And also likewise knowing what nullifies it. For verily, if you actualize all that, you have truly what? Said it, La ilaha illallah, from your heart. Is it clear to understand what I'm saying? So no one can read this text. A lot of people, if they're sitting in their house, they say, La ilaha illallah sincerely from his heart. I'm good. La. It's not enough that you just utter it verbally and that's it. Rather, you have to have what? Knowledge of what you're what? Uttering. Knowledge of what? The meaning of it. The correct meaning of La ilaha illallah. Because we're going to get into it that there are Muslims out there that falsely interpret the meaning of La ilaha illallah. They said that La ilaha illallah doesn't mean Tawheed al-Uluhiyyah. Rather, you'll find them said that La ilaha illallah is Tawheed al-Rububiyyah. Without Uluhiyyah. Is it clear what I'm saying so far, everyone? So that means that they truly utter La ilaha illallah from their heart, sincerely, even though they made ta'weel or false interpretation of it based upon this what? Distorted meaning. Did they say it sincerely from their heart? La. Why? Because they went against the meaning of it. You said that La ilaha illallah is the meaning of Tawheed al-Rububiyyah. Is it clear what I'm saying so far, everyone? It's not only just Rububiyyah alone. Rububiyyah which necessitates Uluhiyyah. There's people out there that give different, distorted meanings of La ilaha illallah. So don't think just says in the hadith, the one who says it sincerely from his heart. And that's it. No. You have to have knowledge of it, meaning of it. What it necessitates. Working in accordance with it. Knowing its conditions. Knowing what nullifies it. That's all of uttering La ilaha illallah from what? Sincerely from your heart. Is it clear what I'm saying so far, everyone? Because everyone wants no one to know that. I want them to know that. A person would say, what's your proof of that? Now listen to this. Now I even read what Ibn Uthaymeen mentions. It says in this regard. He said, La ilaha illallah khalisa min qalbi. Wa la ilaha illallah معناه لا معبود بحق إلا الله. I'll just read in English. La ilaha illallah, the meaning of it, there's no deity worthy and worship in truth except Allah. Meaning, there's nothing worthy of worship in truth except Allah. Meaning that the meaning isn't that there isn't nothing that's worship except Allah, because there is a lot of things that are worship along with Allah. There's ma'budat kathira jiddan, walakin ibadatuha batila. There's a lot of different ma'budat. There's a lot of things that are worshipped along with Allah or besides Allah, wholeheartedly, separately. Is it clear what I'm saying so far, everyone? That's why we said there's nothing worthy of worship in truth except what? Except Allah. Is it clear what I'm saying so far, everyone? He said, being in that the case, it's obligatory that the intent, what's intended, the meaning of the La ilaha illallah, that there's no deity worthy of worship in truth except Allah. As we know that the kalimat al-shahada, the word or the testimony of La ilaha illallah, contains negation and affirmation, as everyone knows already. Like you cannot just affirm it without negation, nor can you negate without what? Affirmation. Jay. So it's to let one know clearly that what? La ilaha illallah, you have to have knowledge of it, knowledge of its meaning, of the true meaning of it. Have knowledge of it, what it necessitates, working in accordance with it, have a knowledge of its conditions, and also knowledge of what it negates it. Because everyone, like we said, you'll find that the majority of Muslims are ignorant of what I just mentioned. They say La ilaha illallah, but they're committing acts that either nullifies it or taints it severely, or not working in contrast with it. A lot of Muslims, because they're not what? Being taught or cultivated properly. So they just said statement, oh, say you said La ilaha illallah, you're good. It's almost as it's the methodology of the Christians. As long as you believe Jesus died on the cross, I don't care what you do, you're good. Is it clear what I'm saying so far, everyone? So we will say, Ya ma'ashal ikhwa, this is what's binding upon the what? The abd, the servant. If he truly wants to utter the kalimat al-shahada, the word, the testimony La ilaha illallah, sincerely from his heart, then he has to fulfill all of this. And the only way he can fulfill majority of what we just mentioned is by having ilm, by having knowledge, by attending these classes, and also reading when you go home, as much as you can. That's the only way you can what? Attain this level of truly uttering the shahada from your heart. By it being based upon knowledge, not just mere utterance of the word, and that's it. Is it clear what I'm saying? Jay. The seventh, أنها لا تكون إلا لمن أشرك بالله. السابعة, that the shafa'ah will not be for those who committed polytheism with Allah, meaning those who died upon polytheism. As far as a person that was upon polytheism in his dunya and he made tawbah and he left it off, then Allah Ta'ala accepts the repentance of the one who seeks it from him. How many of us are upon kufr and shirk? How many of the Sahaba, before they became Muslim, were upon what? Kufr and shirk. And they embraced Islam, made tawbah, and what? Allah accepted it until they became from the best of creation. So the meaning of it here is dying upon what? Polytheism. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? Dying upon polytheism. One is to die in the state of polytheism, then that person, may Allah protect us and protect you, he will never be what? Forgiven for. Never. نسأل الله يعافينا وإياكم من ذلك. طيب. The eighth, the last one, the true or the clarification of its reality. How do they translate in your books? بيان حقيقتها. Or the explanation. Bayan means clarification, explanation of its reality. Meaning the reality of what? Of the shafa'ah. Meaning the reality of how. Now, what does he mean by reality of it? The reality of it is how Allah Ta'ala will complete His favor upon the people of Tawheed. Because the shafa'ah, Allah Ta'ala, this shows that Allah wants guidance for His what? His creation. And He wants to save them from an everlasting torment. For the people of Tawheed, even if they have an Adam's weight of faith will be removed from the torture. Removed from the torture of hell. Even with an Adam's weight of what? Tawheed. With an Adam's weight. So Allah Ta'ala will want complete His favor upon the people of Ikhlas. And He will forgive them by the middle one, who Allah will give permission for, who will intercede. Not because Allah needs the intercession. Rather, Allah does not even have the characteristic of what? Need at all. As we said, the shafa'ah is only for two reasons. What's the first reason? In order to show the high status of the one interceding. And for the one, and to honor him. Or to show their high status. To show their high status, Allah, on the day of resurrection, which will be a great day for those who are from the mu'mineen, the people of Ikhlas. It'll be the happiest day of their existence. Not the happiest day of their life. The happiest day of their existence. Because everything will be put in perspective on that day. So, in order to show the high honor and status of that individual, I'm about to stop now, Allah Ta'ala will allow them to intercede. And the one being interceded for, what? Will also benefit from them being saved from hell, or them being raised in degree, or them entering paradise. Because we talked about the shafa'ah in refutation against Abdullah al-Habashi is not only just for the people of major sins. Because that's what the Ahbash believe. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? Because Abdullah al-Habashi believes that the shafa'ah is only restricted for the people of Ahl Kaba'ir, the people major sins from the ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, which is not the case. Rather, you'll find that the Salaf said that all of the ummah of the Muhammad is going to need the shafa'ah. All of the followers of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam will need the shafa'ah. Doesn't matter whether he be for the people of paradise or the people of what? Of those from the major sins who Allah may overlook or put them in hell. May Allah preserve us from that. But everyone is going to need the shafa'ah. Everyone. For example, as we talked about, how will the gates of paradise be open? No one will be able to enter unless the Prophet ﷺ be what? The first to open the gate first. So everyone will be behind him ﷺ from the greatest of the righteous, from the ummah. And they need the shafa'ah still. And they will not be for the people of what? Major sins. And despite of that, they're still going to need what? The shafa'ah. So it's not only what? Just restricted to what? Major sinners. As everyone will need the shafa'ah. And rather we talked about what the Salaf used to make dua for. You'll find that a lot of them used to make dua, ask Allah to allow the Messenger of Allah to intercede for them. Rather you'll find, as we said, the statement of Anas ibn Malik. Well, Hafid ibn Hajar said the isnad is Hasan. He said, for those who deny the shafa'ah, he said, for verily it is afraid that they will be from those who will what? They will be from those who will not receive it. As Anas ibn Malik mentioned in the isnad in which Al-Hafid ibn Hajar said it was Hasan. He says, for those who deny the shafa'ah and negate it, he said, for they will be from those who will not receive it, meaning they will be deprived of it. Especially from the deviant sects of the Khawarij and the Mu'tazila and who are upon their way. And they said that statement from Anas ibn Malik, lahu hukm al-rafi'. It says that it has the ruling of it being a hadith, because that's from the affairs of the unseen. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? Is it clear what I'm saying? Fine. So that's the last part of the chapter. So we can now move on to the next one, inshallah, Friday. This is the statement of talking about hidayah. Fine. Any questions about the lesson? Tafaddal ya Camden. Al-Maqamul Mahmud. How did he translate? I think they call it the high status or the praiseworthy status. They call it the high status. Yeah. Maqam Mahmud. I understand the question. There is no major and minor shafa'ah. We said that shafa'ah only breaks down to intercessions that's only for the Messenger of Allah and intercessions that are for the Messenger of Allah and other than him. That's it. There is no major or minor shafa'ah. But we do say that the greatest shafa'ah is the Maqam Mahmud, for the day of resurrection to start. I mean, not the day of resurrection to start, excuse me. For the reckoning to start. For the reckoning to start. Gee. You understand, Camden? You sure? I told you I'm going to give you some fish oil pills. Tafadal. Fish oil pills. Try to start eating some good fats. I'm trying to tell everyone, if you eat good fats, it'll help with your brain functions. Eat like avocados, macadamia nuts, Brazilian nuts, coconut oil. Don't listen to the FDA. I have a refutation against the FDA that I have against with some studies. It's pathetic how they talked about how coconut oil, they warned against it. And I'm laughing. When I seen it, I bust out laughing. I couldn't believe what they were saying about it. They knew that coconut oil was curing people. They was losing money. So then they warned against it. Because now you have vegetable oil, corn oil, canola oil, all that other filth and poison that's giving people, that's trans fats, that's processing your body, that's wreaking havoc on your endocrine system. They don't say a word about it. But you had to attack coconut oil. Why? It's clear. But those type of fats will fix your brain. They'll help it work more efficiently. Absolutely. I eat it like food. I'm a little bit nuts. I eat a lot of it because it has 3 things in it. Coconut oil has lauric acid. Lauric acid is antifungal, it's antibacterial, and it has what they call MCT oil in it, which MCT means minor chain triglyceride, meaning it doesn't get stored as fat in your body, automatically gets put out as energy. You study, knowledge is your weapon. Any rate, but however, 70% long chain triglyceride is 30% minor chain triglyceride. The long chain, though, is healthy for you. It'll help your brain cells, and it'll help your brain functions. Tafadal. What's the question? Well, there's a hadith of the Messenger of Allah talked about that Allah knows what they would have done of actions. But that hadith is to show that we should not still say that their people will be definitely in paradise. You understand? But generally, we do say that the children that die for the people of Tawheed, inshallah, will be from the people of the children that died from the parents of people of Tawheed, will inshallah be from those who will lead their parents who are upon Tawheed into paradise. But the hadith said that when that Sahabi, I'll bring it later, but the narration is basically saying that the child that died under the state, meaning before he reached puberty, when the Messenger of Allah says Allah knows best of what they would do of deeds, basically it's just to give a warning not to say so-and-so is guaranteed paradise. You understand? But to hope for that child definitely will die in the state of Tawheed, then definitely we hope for that. And that's basically it. You understand? Follow. They're all connected, technically. Toronto, I'm sorry, just keep finishing.
No, I was just asking.
No, it's a good question.
Yeah, because you start off with the asking what's the time, and you know, doing the few start off with the
Technically, all the categories of Tawheed are all connected. Every single last one of them. Technically. All of them are connected. The Rububiyyah and Asma Sifat of Allah technically are one. Exactly. So it's the Rububiyyah actually. Asma wa Sifat al-Rububiyyah are almost like they're one category. You'll find that Ahl-Ilm separated it in order just for more organized and to make the people understand it a lot better. That's all. But technically they're one. You understand what I'm saying? Any other questions? Well, al-asma wa sifat al-rububiyyah is one category. Technically, they are. They are. Oh, what did you say, Ja'far?
The name of the phone,
Which one? I give it to you after class, inshallah. طيب, any other questions, anyone? After class, brothers. If you can, I'm trying to handle something. I'll give it to you guys later because I have stuff I got to handle. Chicken? I'll handle some food. هذا وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك وأشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك.